Welcome, true crime enthusiasts. Today, we embark on a chilling journey through the stories of unsolved mysteries. Join us as we delve into the top 10 most disturbing unsolved murder cases that continue to baffle investigators and send shivers down our spines. Number 1, the Black Dahlia. Our journey begins with one of the most infamous cases in history, the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short, known as the Black Dahlia, was a young aspiring actress whose life was tragically cut short in 1947. Her mysterious murder has captivated the world for over 7 decades. On January 15, 1947, Elizabeth Short's mutilated body was found in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. The horrific nature of her murder, with her body severed at the waist and her face slashed, shocked the nation and gave rise to her chilling nickname, the Black Dahlia. The investigation into the Black Dahlia case was extensive, with the Los Angeles Police Department tirelessly searching for answers. Numerous suspects were considered, including acquaintances, aspiring actors, and wealthy businessmen. However, none were definitively linked to the crime. Despite the efforts of law enforcement, the Black Dahlia case remains unsolved. Number 2, Jack the Ripper. This unidentified serial killer terrorized the streets of Whitechapel, London, during the late 1800s. From August to November 1888, the unidentified killer, known as Jack the Ripper, brutally murdered and mutilated at least 5 women. Jack the Ripper's reign of terror targeted vulnerable women, often prostitutes, who lived in the impoverished East End of London. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, known as the Canonical Five, were the most widely recognized victims. What made Jack the Ripper so terrifying was his brutal modus operandi. The victims were subjected to horrific mutilations, suggesting a deep-seated rage and an intimate knowledge of anatomy. One of the chilling aspects of the Jack the Ripper case was the series of letters and messages sent to the police and newspapers, claiming responsibility for the murders. Some believe these letters were from the killer himself, while others argue they were hoaxes. The identity of Jack the Ripper remains a mystery to this day, and numerous theories and suspects have emerged over the years. Number 3, the Zodiac Killer. The story begins in the late 1960s when a series of disturbing and brutal murders shocked the San Francisco Bay Area. The Zodiac Killer, as he named himself in letters to the press, claimed responsibility for at least 5 murders. What made the Zodiac Killer so unique was his signature style. Not only did he commit heinous acts of violence, but he also taunted the police and the public through a series of letters, codes, and ciphers sent to newspapers, further fueling the intrigue surrounding his identity. Law enforcement agencies invested significant resources into capturing the Zodiac Killer. Decades have passed, and the identity of the Zodiac Killer remains a mystery. Number 4, JonBenet Ramsey. On December 26, 1996, a 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey, a promising child beauty pageant contestant, was reported missing from her home in Boulder, Colorado. Her parents, John and Patsy Ramsey, made a desperate plea for her safe return. Tragically, JonBenet's lifeless body was discovered later that day in the basement of her own home. Initially, the focus was on the Ramsey family themselves. However, as the investigation progressed, alternative theories emerged, including the possibility of an intruder. The case was marked by puzzling evidence and conflicting narratives. From the ransom note found in the house to the unidentified DNA discovered at the crime scene, the pieces of this tragic puzzle seem to defy easy resolution. To this day, the murder of JonBenet Ramsey remains unsolved. The case has been reopened and investigated multiple times, with new leads and theories emerging over the years. Yet, the truth behind her tragic death continues to elude us. Number 5, the Somerton Man. In 1948, an unidentified man's body was found on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. The man was well dressed, and despite a thorough search for identification, no personal belongings or labels were found on his clothes. A concealed pocket in his pants contained a scrap of paper with the words "Tamam Shud," meaning ended or finished in Persian, leading investigators down a rabbit hole of mystery. Inside a hidden compartment of the man's car parked near the crime scene, a copy of the book Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam was discovered. Law enforcement agencies launched an extensive investigation into the identity of the Somerton Man and the circumstances of his death. Various theories emerged, including espionage, unrequited love, and even the possibility of him being a spy. Yet, no conclusive evidence or leads were ever found. Autopsies revealed unusual characteristics, including a strange type of poisoning that couldn't be definitively identified. Speculation about his origins and purpose continues to this day. Number 6, the Hinterkah Murders. In March 1922, the Gruber family met a horrifying and tragic fate. On April 4, 1922, the bodies of the Gruber family members and their maid were discovered brutally murdered on the farm. The killer had executed them with a pickaxe-like weapon. As the investigation unfolded, suspicion fell on various individuals. Strange occurrences preceding the murders, such as unexplained footprints and sounds, raised questions about potential stalkers or trespassers. The family had reported hearing footsteps in the attic, discovering a set of unfamiliar footsteps leading from the nearby woods to the farm, and even receiving anonymous letters. Despite an extensive investigation, no definitive suspects were identified, and the case remains unsolved. Number 7, the original Night Stalker/East Area Rapist. Next, we encounter the terrifying crimes of the original Night Stalker, also known as the East Area Rapist. In the late 1970s, a mysterious and sadistic serial offender, known as the original Night Stalker, started targeting victims in various California communities. The original Night Stalker carried out a series of attacks throughout the 1970s and 1980s. His victims ranged from couples to individuals, and he exhibited a disturbing level of planning and precision, often stalking his victims for extended periods before striking. He often targeted single-story homes, disabled phones, and would engage in terrifying phone calls to his victims before and after the attacks. Law enforcement agencies devoted significant resources to capturing the original Night Stalker. Various sketches and descriptions were released, but the killer managed to elude capture, leaving investigators frustrated and communities on edge. In 2001, DNA evidence revealed a significant breakthrough, the realization that the original Night Stalker was, in fact, the same individual known as the East Area Rapist, who had been terrorizing California in the mid-1970s. Despite advancements in DNA technology and renewed efforts to solve the case, the original Night Stalker remains unidentified. Number 8, the Springfield 3. In the case of the Springfield 3, 3 women, Cheryl Levitt, Susie Streeter, and Stacy McCall, vanished without a trace from their Missouri home in 1992. The last confirmed sightings of the 3 women were on the evening of June 6, when Susie and Stacy attended a graduation party. Later, they returned to Susie's home, where Cheryl was believed to be waiting. But when friends arrived the next morning, the house was empty. The crime scene presented perplexing clues. Personal belongings, including purses, IDs, and clothing, were left behind, indicating a sudden and unexpected departure. There were no signs of forced entry, suggesting that the women may have known their abductor. Law enforcement launched an extensive investigation, interviewing witnesses, following leads, and conducting searches. Despite years of investigation, the Springfield 3 case remains unsolved. Number 9, the Boy in the Box. In 1957, an unidentified young boy's lifeless body was discovered in a box in Philadelphia. The child's identity remains unknown to this day, adding an additional layer of mystery to an already tragic case. The child, estimated to be around 4 to 6 years old, showed signs of severe abuse and malnourishment. No identifying information or personal belongings were found, leaving investigators with few leads. The discovery of the boy in the box triggered a massive public response. Tips poured in, and law enforcement agencies launched a thorough investigation, but the lack of concrete evidence hindered progress. Over the years, investigators have exhumed the child's remains for DNA analysis, hoping to find familial matches and shed light on his identity. However, the results have been inconclusive. Number 10, the Cleveland Torso Murders. During the 1930s, a series of gruesome discoveries shocked the city of Cleveland. The remains of dismembered and decapitated bodies, known as the Torso Murders, were found scattered throughout the city, leaving the community in fear and investigators perplexed. The victims were brutally dismembered and their heads or limbs were often removed, making identification and forensic analysis challenging for investigators. Over the years, numerous theories and suspects have emerged in the Cleveland Torso Murders case. Some have speculated that the killer had a medical background, given the precision of the dismemberment. Others believe that the murders were the work of multiple individuals. As we conclude our exploration of these disturbing unsolved murder cases, we are reminded of the enduring impact these mysteries have on our collective consciousness. The victims and their families deserve justice, and we hope that one day, these cases will be solved. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, let's continue to seek the truth and shed light on the darkness. Until next time.